Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Yes, I'll remember. Bayun said respectfully. Zhou Zhou nodded. The soldiers of the Aurora Kingdom were all veterans who had experienced a huge battle. Such veterans were experienced. Not only could they play a greater role on the battlefield, they could also familiarize the recruits with the battlefield and nurture them into veterans. Zhou Zhou had only been in the High Continent for a short period of time. Therefore, he yearned for these veterans to join him, even if he had to pay a price. As for reviving and healing the three heroes of the original Aurora Kingdom, it was just a convenient thing for him. In any case, he did not lack faith divine crystals now. It would naturally be best if those three heroes could join him because of this. If that didn't work, he would not lose much. Let them stay in the territory of the kingdom. This way, Zhou Zhou did not believe that they would watch coldly if an enemy pounced on him when he went out to fight in the future. However, the possibility of such an accident was very small. Firstly, as he occupied the four kingdoms, the city walls of the Supreme Defense would be raised in all the regional territories. With the Supreme Defense in place, he could completely bring his soldiers back to the territory to provide support immediately after he received the news of attacks. Secondly, after the God of Death statue was built, the enemy would be affected by the fear of death once they entered the kingdom area and started fighting. Their combat strength would decrease greatly. Unless the other party was too strong, it would not cause much harm. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou looked at Bayun again. After you go out, get Zhao Changshu and Ashburn Hall to come over, he said. Yes, Your Majesty. Bayun nodded and turned to leave. Zhao Changshu and Ashburn Hall came over. Greetings, Your Majesty. The two of them said respectfully and led the way. Zhou Zhou nodded. After the two of them sat down, he looked at Ashburn Hall and smiled ruefully. Long time no see, right? Your Majesty is busy every day. I understand, Your Majesty. Moreover, ain't I seeing you now? Ashburn Hall smiled. Zhou Zhou nodded and looked at his attribute information. In the end, he realized that the current Ashburn Hall was already a white platinum tier advanced grade alchemy technician and a diamond tier elementary grade alchemy pharmacist. You've improved significantly recently. Zhou Zhou was surprised. If not for His Majesty investing a large amount of resources in our alchemy technology and potion manufacturing department and giving me sufficient resources and conditions, I wouldn't have been able to improve so quickly. Ashburn Hall said even more respectfully. The current Gnome Alchemy Workshop was no longer the small workshop that could only produce life potions, energy potions, and mechanostriders. With Zhou Zhou's vast amount of mist cores, potion formulas, alchemy technology formulas, corresponding medicinal herbs, and alchemy materials, the current Gnome Alchemy Workshop had already become the official alchemy technology research department and potion manufacturing department of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Not only was it in charge of the alchemy technology production and potion manufacturing in the entire Blazing Sun Kingdom, the potions needed for Zhou Zhou's army's daily battles were provided by them. Moreover, he had also dabbled in medicinal herb nurturing, formula research, alchemy technician, alchemy pharmacist talent nurturing, and many other fields. Linger's Divine Herb Garden also had a close cooperation with them. Even the newly established spaceship flying business in the territory was developed by Ashburn Hall and Wanya. The Black Ghost was only the beginning. According to Ashburn Hall's thoughts, since low-level land and air transportation like the Mechanostrider had gradually faded from the vision of the army with the establishment of the spaceship factory and the popularization of spaceships like the Starry Night, it was better to gradually convert it into civilian transportation. It allowed the subjects of the Blazing Sun Kingdom to live a life of going out and taking a car or even a personal aircraft. Zhou Zhou naturally agreed with this idea. The development and popularity of transportation was one of the important factors that determined the strength of the country. It could also increase the subject's personal wealth and national taxes. He had no reason to refuse. This is for you. Get the potion manufacturing department to create a batch of such potions as backup. Zhou Zhou stopped chatting and took out the giant god potion and handed it to Ashburn Hall. Ashburn Hall took it and looked at the formula for the giant god potion. Surprise flashed across his eyes before he said respectfully, "I'll do it immediately." "Go on." "Yes, I'll take my leave." Ashburn Hall left. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou took out the building blueprint of the god of death statue and handed it to Zhao Changshu. "Uncle Zhao, build this god of death statue as soon as possible." Zhou Zhou said. The day after tomorrow, the Supreme Will would activate the King of 10,000 Kings event. He did not know what the specific content of the event was. However, danger was certain according to history. It was better to build this god of death statue as soon as possible. Zhao Changshu took the blueprint and looked at it. His expression immediately became serious. It could make the invading enemy fear death? The effect of this god of death statue could almost be said to be a treasure to protect the country. "I will definitely do it immediately," Zhao Changshu said solemnly. Zhou Zhou nodded. Zhao Changshu had built most of the buildings in the Blazing Sun Kingdom for him. He was at ease with him. Then, the two of them chatted for a while. Zhao Changshu smiled and said, "Your Majesty, tomorrow is the founding ceremony and your ascension ceremony. Is your Majesty prepared?" Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. He was quite looking forward to the founding ceremony and his ascension ceremony. At this moment, Aliyah knocked on the door and walked in after getting permission. "Your Majesty, Heavenly Map Army, Legion Commander Wu Tu requests an audience," Aliyah said respectfully. "Let him in." "Yes." Aliyah left. "If your Majesty is busy, I'll also start preparing to build the statue of the god of death." Zhao Changshu also stood up. "Go on." Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Zhao Changshu took his leave. Soon, Wu Tu walked in. "Greetings, Your Majesty," he said respectfully. "What happened?" Zhou Zhou asked curiously. "Your Majesty, this is the map I just gathered." This map includes the distribution of the 16 kingdoms of the people of foreign races in the Alliance Army today. Moreover, there are also 6 other unfamiliar people of foreign race kingdoms and 3 unfamiliar human kingdoms. They're all beginner kingdoms without exception. Lastly, there's an intermediate kingdom called the Ice Demon Kingdom in the north of these beginner kingdoms. This Ice Demon Kingdom is very close to the people of Foreign Race Alliance. I have a bold guess. I'm afraid the Ice Demon Kingdom has also secretly interfered in today's battle. However, we didn't obtain much map information about this unfamiliar intermediate kingdom. Your Majesty, please give us more time. I will definitely be able to lead the Heavenly Map Army and obtain all the map information of this intermediate grade kingdom," Wu Tu said in a low voice as he handed the thick map booklet to Zhou Zhou. Zhou Zhou was shocked at the extent of the large map that included 25 beginner kingdoms and an intermediate grade kingdom called the Ice Demon Kingdom. He immediately took the map from Wu Tu and began to flip through it page by page. Towards the end, he saw the map symbol of an intermediate grade kingdom that was larger than the territory of the 16 people of foreign races combined. It was marked Intermediate Kingdom, Ice Demon Kingdom. Zhou Zhou heaved a sigh of relief. Where did this map come from? Zhou Zhou looked at Wu Tu and asked. For the past 2 days, Wu Tu had been leading the Heavenly Army to constantly fight with him. Logically speaking, he shouldn't have had time to bring people to gather so much map information. Your Majesty, there are some map-type resources among the many treasures and resources brought back by the army today. These map-type resources should be the accumulation of the Netherbark Kingdom and the Titan Kingdom over the past hundreds or thousands of years. I led more than 100 trusted high-level cartographers to classify and integrate these map-type resources before finally obtaining such a map, Wu Tu said respectfully. Zhou Zhou came to a realization. No wonder. It turned out to be the map information accumulated by the Titan Kingdom and the Netherbark Kingdom over the past hundreds of years. Not bad. You did a good job. With this map, it will be easier for us to take revenge on them in the future. I'll remember your contribution. Go get the military merit reward from the military officials later. Remember to get a portion for the cartographers who organized this map. Zhou Zhou smiled and commended. Thank you, Your Majesty. Actually, this is our job, Wu Tu said excitedly and embarrassedly. Zhou Zhou smiled. The two of them chatted for a while before Wu Tu left. Zhou Zhou looked at the thick map booklet for a while. Finally, his gaze landed on the map of the Ice Demon Kingdom. He thought about it and called over the 5 heroes of the people of foreign race who had surrendered today and began to ask some questions. Zhou Zhou was left alone in the room after they left. At this moment, he already knew what he wanted to know. Wu Tu was right. This Ice Demon Kingdom is indeed related to today's battle. So the Ice Demon Kingdom also knew about the divine artifact of the race in my hands and was afraid of my identity as the strongest lord of all races. So they secretly commanded some beginner kingdoms of the people of foreign races to cooperate with the Netherbark Kingdom, wanting to test my methods. TSK. A dignified veteran intermediate kingdom is actually so cautious? But then again, even though this Ice Demon Kingdom is a little far from my territory, they can reach me if they spend some time and build more spatial teleportation arrays. I have to let it go for now. Let's start with destroying these dogs. Zhou Zhou looked at the territories of these people of foreign races, and a cold glint flashed across his eyes. He would not show any mercy to enemies who had attacked him. When his wings grew stronger and he was confident in dealing with the Ice Demon Kingdom, he would attack them. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Enter, Zhou Zhou said without looking up, his gaze fixed on the map in his hand. The door was gently opened, and a beautiful figure walked in. Zhou Zhou looked up and saw Leah coming over. Didn't you go back to accompany father-in-law? Zhou Zhou asked in surprise. I'm done. So I came back? Leah giggled and then became serious. Of course. I'm here to look for you for something serious. I'm not here to disturb you. Leah did not want her relationship with Zhou Zhou to affect Zhou Zhou's national matters. In the High Continent, a world filled with lord wars, obsession with romance every day was harmful to both individuals and the country. As a former princess of a country, she understood all these. Doing this would be a huge disregard to the people. Only women who did not do any chores all day long and only liked to read romance books would feel that monarchs were very carefree. Leah would only feel that such a monarch was irresponsible. Are the original lords of the Aurora Kingdom here? Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and remembered. Imagine. It's not just the lords of the Aurora Kingdom. The Titan Kingdom has also brought over all the lords in their country. They're waiting at the administrative hall now, Leah said. Already? Aren't they quite efficient? Zhou Zhou asked in surprise. It was fine with the Aurora Kingdom. He went this morning after all. It was not surprising to send the lords over through teleportation arrays and other means of transportation for the entire day. However, he had just returned to the Titan Kingdom not long ago. Finns had actually gathered all the lords of their original kingdom so quickly. This efficiency was indeed very high. It seemed that it valued what he had ordered very much. This attitude made Zhou Zhou very comfortable. It seemed that the other party was indeed sincere in submitting. Let's go. Without hesitation, Zhou Zhou stood up and went to the administrative hall with Li Ya. Soon, the two of them arrived at the administrative hall. In the huge administrative hall sat more than 10,000 Aurora Kingdom humans and titans. If not for the fact that the current administrative hall had already reached 20 hectares after being promoted to White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, it would not have been able to accommodate these 10,000 lords. Greetings, Your Majesty. When Zhou Zhou arrived, the other lords stood up and bowed respectfully as a human lord led the way. Even though the voice of a lord was not loud, the sound of more than 10,000 lords converging echoed in the entire administrative hall. Everyone, take a seat, Zhou Zhou said. Only then did the lords sit down. Your Majesty. This is the specific list of all the lords. Their abilities, strength, and previous lord experiences are also recorded at the back. Zhang Yuanqi, who had been waiting here, took out a stack of lists and handed them to Zhou Zhou. Zhou Zhou took it and looked at it. He nodded slightly. On this list of lords, there were a total of 5,461 former Aurora Kingdom lords and 10,631 former Titan Kingdom lords. There were a total of 16,092 lords. How many Lord Talent Crystal Fragments would he obtain with so many lords? He was looking forward to it. Then, Zhou Zhou suppressed the excitement in his heart and looked at the 10,000 lords in front of him as usual. I summoned you here today to see your aptitudes. If your potential is outstanding, this king will not be stingy with the rewards. The Blazing Sun Kingdom has just been built, and the system of transforming the 5 kingdoms into 5 states has just been established. Currently, the cities in various regional territories in the 5 states are seriously lacking capable officials. After I check your aptitudes, you can take over according to the arrangements. There will not be any difference in treatment. If you do well in government affairs, it won't be a problem for you to be promoted and get rich in the future, especially when it comes to the Mist Corps. As long as everyone does well, I won't disappoint you, at least in terms of the Mist Corps reward. I just hope that you won't think that the reward for the Mist Corps is too much. Of course, if someone breaks the law knowingly and treats the laws of the Blazing Sun Kingdom as nothing, don't blame our retaliation for being too harsh. Zhou Zhou's words were very straightforward. However, there was no choice. He really had a lot of Mist Cores. The 2.5 times enhancement with the King of Loot's title was no joke. The lords were stunned by Zhou Zhou's wealth. His Majesty seemed a little different from the king they had followed in the past. He was a little too bold. Then, they became excited. Who didn't love money? It's still better to follow His Majesty. At this moment, Zhang Yuanqi was also prepared. He sent someone to distribute more than 10,000 books recording the reward and punishment system to each lord. When the lords saw the specific reward and punishment system, they immediately understood Zhou Zhou's generosity even more. The minimum monthly fixed salary of a regional lord of a yellow gold tier regional territory is 500 yellow gold tier mist cores. That high? If you make outstanding political achievements, there will be a political achievement reward of at least 100 white silver tier mist cores and no upper limit. For every increase in the average loyalty of the subjects in the territory, I'll be rewarded with 10,000 diamond tier mist cores? Hiss. Is that true? Those who wantonly harm innocent civilians, regardless of their status and strength, have to be punished severely. But I'm a powerhouse. The lords discussed animatedly. There were also lords who hesitated and did not like the discipline matters. Zhou Zhou looked at this side calmly. He had also seen this reward and punishment system and felt that there was no problem. After consideration by other officials, they also agreed that it was very suitable for the current governance system. If they were unwilling to accept it, then don't be an official of his Blazing Sun Kingdom. He was not here to bargain with them. At Zhou Zhou's signal, Zhang Yuanqi walked in front of the lords. Can everyone accept this temporary reward and punishment system? If you're willing, you can come over and get your duties later. If you're unwilling, we'll also provide free teleportation to send you home. Raise your hands if you're unwilling right now. Zhou Zhou and Zhang Yuanqi looked at the 10,000 lords. There was silence. No one raised their hands. A smile finally appeared on Zhang Yuanqi's face. Since everyone agrees, come over in a while and receive your position transfer order. We will determine your positions and place of employment according to your ability, proximity principle, and personal will. If anyone is still unwilling, you can apply for adjustments from the corresponding department. Do you have any more questions? As soon as these words were spoken, many people and the Titans heaved a sigh of relief. This last worry immediately disappeared. At this moment, a weak voice sounded. I have a question. Zhou Zhou and the others looked over. He realized that the person who spoke was a burly man. However, what was strange was that even though this person had a strong figure, his words and actions emitted a soft and weak feeling. What's your question? Tell me. Zhang Yuanqi smiled gently. He did not discriminate against the other party because of the strangeness in his body. I heard that your lord talent will disappear if you are a lord with a lord talent who becomes a subordinate of a lord under a lord of all races. This lord talent won't awaken again until you leave the lord of all races. Is that true? He asked nervously. All the lords looked at Zhou Zhou as soon as these words were spoken. Yes. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. That was indeed the case. The Supreme will seem to want the lords of all races and their territories to only have the lord talent themselves. Once other lords with lord talents join the lords of all races, their lord talents would be gone and would only awaken their lord talents again after leaving the lord of all races. The local forces did not have this restriction. The local forces could normally rule over lords with lord talents. They would even take the initiative to distribute territory tokens to subjects with high potential so that the subjects could try to awaken their lord talents. If the lords of all races wanted to do the same thing, they could only use the master-servant territory contract to turn lords with lord talents into lords of their subordinate territory. Only then could they retain the lord talents on them. For example, this was how Linger and the Green Phoenix Lord preserved their lord talents. Unfortunately, as the Myriad Race's Lord Battlefield event ended, there was no longer any way to exchange for a treasure like the master-servant territory contract. After hearing his words, the lords hesitated again. A very small number of them had their own lord talents. They were naturally a little unwilling if their lord talent was temporarily hidden and disappeared. Those who can't bear to part with your lord talent, you can leave this place. We won't force you. At this moment, Zhou Zhou suddenly said, "Those who are unwilling to stay in the Blazing Sun Kingdom as officials, please raise your hand." Zhang Yuanqi repeated. No one raised their hands. Even the lords with lord talents did not raise their hands. What to do? The king of the Blazing Sun had offered them too much. There were so many that they felt that they would not lose out even if they could not use their lord talent for the time being. Instead, they would make a killing. Moreover, it was only temporary, not like it would completely disappear. The lords could reluctantly accept this. A faint smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. With the lord talent, peace and prosperity, as long as they were subjects in his territory for a month, with their loyalty, they would basically not want to leave. Zhou Zhou stood up. Next, I'll do something to verify your loyalty. Please don't resist. Don't worry, it won't harm you. After this, we're all on the same side. I'll distribute some rewards to everyone, he said. The lords were stunned. Zhou Zhou did not explain further. He extended his right hand, which was wearing the master thief's robbery gloves, and pointed at these lords from afar. The next second, the chaotic origin energy in his body activated and surged into his robbery gloves. At this moment, Zhou Zhou had a feeling. As long as he wanted to, he could instantly steal anything from these 10,000 lords. This included assets, external items, talents, bloodlines, and other items that were not life-threatening. The Lord Talent crystal fragments were naturally among them. He smiled to himself. The Master Thief's robbery gloves, a special high god-tier divine artifact, could finally be used more conveniently after the chaotic origin energy in his body could drive the divine artifact. In the past, he still needed to touch the other party with his own hands to steal the other party's items. Now, he could steal them directly from afar. The efficiency of this theft had increased by more than 100 times. He stopped thinking about it. With a thought. The next second, he had used the Master Thief's robbery gloves to steal the Lord Talent crystal fragments of the 10,000 lords in front of him into his king's treasure box. He took a look and was pleasantly surprised to discover that these 16,092 lords had actually provided him with 54,730 black iron tier Lord Talent crystal fragments, 615 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments, 256 white silver tier Lord Talent crystal fragments, 154 yellow gold tier Lord Talent crystal fragments, 51 white platinum tier Lord Talent crystal fragments, and 12 diamond tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. There was not a single Lord Talent crystal fragment above the extraordinary tier. But even so, Zhou Zhou was also quite satisfied. Not to mention anything else. This Lord Talent could finally be upgraded from white platinum tier to diamond tier from the shelter of the goddess of life that Zhou Zhou had been thinking about. In a good mood, he turned to look at Zhang Yuanqi. Uncle Zhang, distribute 1,000 special soldier types, King of Yellow Gold class change certificate, to each of these lords. If you have a Lord Talent, you can distribute more class change certificates according to the grade of your Lord Talent. Consider this a reward for your own people. Zhou Zhou said, this is considered compensation for taking their Lord Talent crystal fragments. Yes, your majesty. Zhang Yuanqi said respectfully. The lords also heard Zhou Zhou's words. Excitement appeared on their faces. Advanced grade special grade soldiers were kingdom level soldiers. His Majesty was actually so generous as to directly give him 1,000 special soldier-type class change certificates. The lords increasingly felt that joining the Blazing Sun Kingdom was the right choice. Even the lord who was conflicted about his lord talent now approved of Zhou Zhou even more. After that, Zhang Yuanqi sent people to arrange the mobilization of these tens of thousands of lords. Zhou Zhou watched for a while before leaving and returning to his beginner-grade lord's paradise. He arrived at the entrance of the beginner-grade lord's paradise. Zhou Zhou did not enter. Instead, he stood at the door, preparing to upgrade his territory. The resources for his upgraded territory were already extremely sufficient after plundering the treasure vaults of the 3 beginner kingdoms today. He was only short of upgrading his territory. He willed. The next second, 4 billion units of basic materials, 1,000 white platinum tier mist cores, 5,000 origin crystals, 100,000 units of basic elemental gems, 30,000 units of high-level elemental gems, and 3 white platinum tier territory tokens disappeared. Boom! A golden light immediately covered the entire beginner-grade lord's paradise. The golden light dissipated. The clearly expanded beginner-grade lord's paradise appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Congratulations, your beginner-grade lord's paradise has been upgraded to a diamond-tier elementary grade building and advanced to an intermediate-grade lord's paradise. Your white platinum tier advanced grade essence spirit array has been upgraded to diamond tier elementary grade. Your territory has been upgraded to diamond tier elementary grade. Territory token endurance increased to 100 million/100 million. Your territory has expanded to 10,000 km times 10, 000 km times 20, 000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, basic building blueprint treasure chest, diamond tier elementary grade. Lord talent notification. The upper limit of the enemy lord's power that you can instigate by insight defection has been increased to legendary tier advanced grade. Lord talent hint. Your monster ranches can be upgraded. Lord talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your goddess of life's shelter has increased. The next second, Zhou Zhou's expectant notification sounded. Cerulean Planet World Channel Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first Lord to upgrade his territory to Diamond Tier. Reward, Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Reputation Rating +1, Unique Title of the Race. Glory of the Pioneer 4 has advanced to Glory of the Pioneer V. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. He had finally obtained this title. Moreover, his territory had finally advanced from a beginner lord's paradise to an intermediate grade lord's paradise. Zhou Zhou opened the world channel in a good mood, wanting to see the reaction of the Lord of the Cerulean Planet. In the end, he was stunned to realize that even though the lords of the Cerulean Planet were all discussing the upgrade of his territory to Diamond Tier, they did not show much surprise. It was as if it was natural for him to do this. Some lords even said that they would only be shocked when there was another announcement on the entire channel by the lords of all races. Zhou Zhou could not help but be speechless. These guys' appetites had even been spoiled by him. He didn't even care about normal announcements, but he cared about the announcements of all races, right? He shook his head and looked at the title effect he had just obtained. Title name, Glory of the Pioneer V. Title quality, Unique Title of the Race. Title effect 1. You are famous among the lords of the Cerulean Planet. More people admire your reputation and yearn to join your territory. The number of subjects you can summon through the gate of summoning every day plus 500%. Among the subjects summoned, there will be a talent of the same level as the territory +6. Title effect 2. Your unique title suffix will be added behind your lord title when you speak in any channel. You can take the initiative to turn it off or activate it. Title effect 3. When you become the first Cerulean Planet Lord to have an extraordinary tier elementary grade territory, This title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer 6 and unlock more title effects. Title description. The Supreme Will is the exclusive title given to the pioneer among the lords. Every pioneer of every race has a higher chance of achieving extraordinary achievements. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The number of basic subjects that would appear in his Gate of Summoning would double again tomorrow. Most importantly, the number of professional talents summoned at the same level as the territory would also increase to 6. Starting tomorrow, I will summon at least 6 diamond-tier elementary grade talents every day. Zhou Zhou's lips curled up slightly. 6 diamond-tier elementary grade talents. It was already comparable to 6 talents with reputation rating. Not bad, not bad. Then, he opened the Supreme Treasure Chest and realized that there was actually 1 diamond-tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragment in it. I obtained this? Zhou Zhou was a little surprised. However, he really needed diamond-tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, so he put them away. Then, Zhou Zhou looked at the requirements for the next level. Construction upgrade, 10 billion units of wood, 10 billion units of fine sand, 10 billion units of metal, 10 billion units of stone, 1,000 diamond-tier mist core, 10,000 origin crystals, 500,000 units of basic elemental gems, 100,000 units of thunder elemental gems, 100,000 units of life elemental gems, 100,000 units of death elemental gems, 1 diamond-tier city, 10 diamond-tier lifestyle professionals, 100 diamond-tier military professionals, 3 diamond-tier territory tokens. There are enough resources. I can continue to upgrade my territory. The smile on Zhou Zhou's face deepened. The advanced elemental gems he took out from the 3 kingdoms today were not in vain. It could actually allow him to upgrade his territory twice in a row. He wasted no time. Zhou Zhou chose to level up. Congratulations, your beginner grade Lord's Paradise has successfully been upgraded to a white platinum tier intermediate grade building. Your white platinum tier advanced grade essence spirit array has been upgraded to diamond tier intermediate grade. Your territory has been upgraded to diamond tier elementary grade. Territory token endurance increased to 500 million/500 million. Your territory has expanded to 20,000 km times 20, 000 km times 20, 000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward, Basic Building Blueprint Treasure Chest, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade. Lord Talent Notification. The upper limit of the enemy lord's power that you can induce insight defection has been increased to low-tier deity elementary grade. Lord Talent Hint. Your monster ranches can be upgraded. Lord Talent Hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent Hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Life shelter has increased. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly and could not wait to see its upgrade conditions. Construction upgrade, 50 billion units of wood, 50 billion units of fine sand, 50 billion units of metal, 50 billion units of stone, 50,000 diamond tier mist core, 50,000 origin crystals, 1 million units of basic elemental gems, 300,000 units of thunder elemental gems, 300,000 units of life elemental gems, 300,000 units of death elemental gems, 2 diamond tier cities, 50 diamond tier lifestyle professionals, 500 diamond tier military professionals, 10 diamond tier territory tokens. I've satisfied all the other upgrade conditions. I only have 300,000 units of life elemental gems and 300,000 units of death elemental gems. I don't have enough. I'll instruct Zheng Yuanqi tomorrow to speed up the development of the gem resources in Titan State. Zhou Zhou thought. They did not expect. However, even though he could not continue to upgrade his territory, he was already quite satisfied after upgrading his territory by 2 levels in a row. He walked into the intermediate grade Lord's Paradise and realized that the building facilities and interior decoration inside were much better than before. While it occupied a larger area, the building functions were also more complete than before. The more Zhou Zhou looked at it, the more satisfied he became. Then, he walked out of the intermediate grade Lord's Paradise and came to the Gate of Summoning. He spent resources to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade. Congratulations, your Gate of Summoning has been upgraded to a Diamond Tier Intermediate grade building. You can summon plus 200 subjects every day. You will definitely summon 200 professionals every day among the subjects. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer V, you can summon 4,000 subjects a day. You will definitely summon 206 professionals every day among the subjects. And the professional levels of 6 of the professionals will be the same as your territory level. Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. After the Gate of Summoning was upgraded to Diamond Tier Intermediate grade, the number of basic summoning subjects had reached a total of 800. After being enhanced by the Glory of the Pioneer V, it directly doubled to 4,000 people. A total of 4,000 people. Fortunately, I can summon the promised people through the Gate of Summoning all at once now. Otherwise, it would take a while to see them walk out of the Gate of Summoning. Zhou Zhou lamented. He was very satisfied with this upgrade. Then, he looked at the requirements for the next level of the Gate of Summoning. Construction upgrade, 200 million units of wood, 200 million units of fine sand, 200 million units of metal, 200 million units of stone, 1,000 Diamond Tier Mist Core, territory level upgraded to Diamond Tier Elementary grade. Zhou Zhou shook his head. The upgrade conditions of the Gate of Summoning really looked like a gift for upgrading the territory. It was not difficult at all. He did not stay here. He left the Gate of Summoning and returned to his intermediate grade Lord's Paradise again. Then, he went all the way to his study. The upgraded study was simply like a small library, filled with all kinds of books. It included astronomy, geography, daily life, information about the races of the myriad worlds, skill books of various life professions, and even novels written by the dragon race. Zhou Zhou walked around for a while before returning to his desk. He took out 10 Diamond Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments and prepared to upgrade the shelter of the Goddess of Life. He first fused 10 Diamond Tier Lord Talent Crystal fragments into a Diamond Tier Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystal. Then, he summoned the Lord Talent panel and began to upgrade. A text notification appeared. As you have 2 white Platinum Tier Lord Talents, the shelter of the Goddess of Life and Dragon-slaying hometown, please choose one to advance. I choose to advance the shelter of the Goddess of Life. Zhou Zhou said. The dragon-slaying hometown was not bad, but he needed the shelter of the Goddess of Life more now. Lord Talent has been chosen. Upgrading in progress. The next second, he felt a familiar warm feeling between his eyebrows. A moment later, the warmth faded. A new text notification appeared. Lord Talent upgrade successful. Congratulations, your white Platinum Tier Lord Talent, the shelter of the Goddess of Life, has been upgraded to Diamond Tier Lord Talent, the shelter of the Goddess of Life. You have leveled up to Diamond Tier Lord Talent effect. Lord Talent, the shelter of the Goddess of Life, Diamond Tier, the shelter of the Goddess of Life. Your territory will have a special building, the shelter of the Goddess of Life. This talent information hasn't changed, but the level of his talent has changed. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. It seemed that he had to go take a look on the ground. He stood up and walked towards the shelter of the Goddess of Life without hesitation. The shelter of the Goddess of Life. Zhou Zhou stood there and looked at the huge building in front of him in surprise. It was different from the sand buildings made of gray sand and gravel. The upgraded shelter of the Goddess of Life was more than 30 meters tall and was made of silver bricks. Moreover, there were many green plants that emitted vigorous vitality growing at the edge of the building wall. Cute animals were also moving freely inside, as if they were not worried that the people in the building would hurt them at all. At this moment, its architectural style could be described as solemn and natural. Other than that, directly in front of the shelter, a statue of the Goddess of Life stood here. She had a beautiful face and was wearing emerald green clothes. A pair of emerald green eyes looked ahead with a smile on her lips, as if she was looking at something. My good lord, it's a huge change. Zhou Zhou was surprised. He had been here dozens of times and was extremely familiar with this place. The shelter of the Goddess of Life in front of him was 100 times better than before. The previous place was simply like a dilapidated shelter. It clearly had the aura of a god spirit's territory now. He focused on the building. Soon, the building information appeared. Building name: the shelter of the goddess of life. Building level: special grade. Building function 1. Archbishop Carol Moali of the shelter and her clergymen, priests, nuns, and other clergymen can each provide the lord and subject of the territory with basic protection services 3 times a day for free. However, if you need more protection in the future, you will need to spin mist cores or faith divine crystals to buy them. Currently providing shelter types: basic shelter service, life holy water, 1 green bronze tier mist core. Basic shelter service, life healing technique, 2 green bronze tier mist cores. Basic shelter service, appeasement, 2 green bronze tier mist cores. Basic shelter service, mental communication, 2 green bronze tier mist cores. Advanced protection, hire a life priest, 1 faith divine crystals per day. Advanced protection, hire a life paladin, 3 faith divine crystals per day. Advanced protection, divine art, soul restoration, 1 faith divine crystal. Advanced protection, divine art, limb restoration, 5 faith divine crystals. Advanced protection, divine art, holy protection, 5 faith divine crystals. Advanced protection, divine art, small resurrection, 5 faith divine crystals. Advanced protection, divine art, great resurrection, 1 faith divine crystals. Building function 2. When the Lord and his forces go out to hunt fog monsters, they will encounter fog monsters with a small chance of dropping scarlet crystals. After handing the scarlet crystals to the shelter of the goddess of life, they can be converted into faith divine crystals in exchange for the protection they want. Construction upgrade: this building originates from the Lord talent and cannot be upgraded. Prompt 1. The above level of the shelter service will increase as the territory level increases. Prompt 2. Building effect 2 is the exclusive building effect of this special building. The other, the shelter of the goddess of life, doesn't have this ability. Building description: the goddess of life saw that all life forms in the world were suffering from war, so she built the shelter of the goddess of life everywhere in the high continent to reduce the death of life forms. All life forms who enter the shelter of the goddess of life are protected by the goddess of life. Zhou Zhou looked at the information about the shelter of the goddess of life and was pleasantly surprised. Firstly, Carol Moali's clergy position had changed from cardinal to archbishop. According to what Zhou Zhou knew from her, the clergy under the goddess of life had a total of 9 levels. From bottom to top, they were cardinal, first cardinal, archbishop, metropolitan cardinal, sect master, cardinal, pope, god servant, and elven. Carol Moali was only a cardinal in the past and was an ordinary supervisor, but she had actually advanced by 2 levels and become an archbishop. Moreover, the big city here referred to the myriad worlds in the eyes of the god spirits. To the high continent, the level of a big city was almost equivalent to an ordinary kingdom. Her status could be said to have increased greatly compared to before. However, this was not what surprised Zhou Zhou. Instead, its building effect had been greatly strengthened. The first was that the number of free basic shelter service each clergyman provided to the lords and subjects had increased from 1 to 3 times a day. The second point was, among the many shelter services provided by the shelter, other than the price of the Great Resurrection spell remaining unchanged, the price of other protection services had been reduced by half. Moreover, its basic protection services could be paid for with mist cores now, and the amount of mist cores needed was very small. What was the difference between this and giving it to the rich and imposing Zhou Zhou for free? I wonder how many clergy there are in the shelter now. Zhou Zhou thought expectantly. At this moment, it was as if it had heard what he was thinking. The door of the shelter slowly opened. Then, Carol Moali, who was wearing the clothes of an archbishop with a red background and silver trim, walked out of the shelter with 7 clergymen in the clothes of low-level cardinals. Archbishop Carol Moali greets Your Majesty. First Cardinal, Juliet Staley/Kelly Usen, greets Your Majesty. Cardinal Sam Emmy/Coverdale, Anastasia/Yao Chin, Malachi, Rossetti June, greets Your Majesty. The 8 of them came in front of Zhou Zhou and bowed respectfully. They're all your subordinates? Zhou Zhou looked at Carol Moali in surprise. It was Her Excellency, the goddess of life, who sent the 7 of them to me to help me share the matters in the shelter. They all have outstanding aptitudes and have mastered the great resurrection spell. In the future, if your majesty needs to revive many people, I can revive them all in a short period of time, even if I'm exhausted and can't carry it out. This way, I won't delay your majesty's matters. Carol Moali smiled. Zhou Zhou was even more satisfied. Just as Carol Moali mentioned, he did not have to worry about her being overwhelmed by the workload anymore. However, he did not forget to ask the most important thing. How many clergymen are in the shelter now? How strong are they? Zhou Zhou asked. Are the shelter of the goddess of life also increased to the diamond tier intermediate grade after our territory was upgraded to the diamond tier intermediate grade? At that time, there were already 20,000 clergymen, 20,000 priests, 20,000 nuns, and 200,000 life paladins in our shelter. In addition, the strength of all the clergy has also increased to diamond tier. And my strength has also increased from extraordinary tier elementary grade to epic tier intermediate grade. Since your majesty upgraded our shelter, the number of clergymen in our shelter has increased by 10 times. Currently, there are 200,000 clergymen, 200,000 priests, 200,000 nuns, and 2 million life paladins in our shelter. And my strength has also jumped to the legendary tier elementary grade. Carol Moali replied. Okay. A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. There were a total of 2.6 million clergymen and 7 new cardinals, even though he had to pay mist cores or faith divine crystals to drive them. However, Zhou Zhou really did not lack this thing. In addition, Carol Moali's strength had increased to the legendary tier elementary grade. Even though she was limited by her talent and could not participate in the battle, she could only provide services such as the Great Resurrection spell. However, the ability to revive legendary tier elementary grade life forms was enough to become an important bargaining chip in his hands. The upgrade of his Lord talent this time did not disappoint him. After that, he chatted with Carol Moali for a while, more before walking to the monster ranch. Then, he asked Mugu about the upgrade of the monster ranch. Firstly, Mugu's strength had also increased to the diamond tier intermediate grade, becoming the diamond tier intermediate grade monster rancher and monster patriarch. And now, the number of monster ranches under Mugu had increased from 36 to 50 today, with the enhancement of the King of Loots. From now on, Zhou Zhou could obtain a large number of extraordinary tier resources every day with just these 50 monster ranches. As for the 14 new monster ranches, Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and decided to let 4 of them nurture special soldier types. King of Yellow Gold. The other 10 monster ranches would be used to nurture the kingdom-level combat class, Violent Storm Spirit. Actually, he also had the idea of using it to nurture the Violent Storm Spirit. The Violent Storm Spirit was a kingdom-level combat class after all, 1 level stronger than the King of Yellow Gold. However, this was like a team fight in a game. No matter how fierce the mage's damage output was at the back, if there was no meat shield in front, the mage would still be attacked by the assassin and be killed. And the King of Yellow Gold, this special soldier type, was the most suitable meat shield in the current situation. At the beginning of the war, the Violent Storm Spirit could attack from the back without worry with the King of Yellow Gold in front. After that, Zhou Zhou left the monster ranch and went to Zheng Fugui's place to ask about the upgrade of the mysterious caravan. The number of mysterious merchant alone had increased from 1,500 to 3,000, and the number of carriages transporting goods had also increased to 3,000. At the same time, the strength of all the mysterious merchant had increased to diamond tier intermediate grade. The internal space of each mysterious merchant's mysterious ring had also increased from 80,000 cubic meters to 500,000 cubic meters. After checking the upgrade of all the Lord talents, Zhou Zhou walked towards the intermediate grade Lord's paradise. When he was halfway there, he suddenly felt something move between his eyebrows. With a thought, a silver light flew out of his glabella and landed on the ground, turning into the ultimate Lord, Zhou Zhou. It's getting late. I'm going to the mechanical kingdom of the Lord of the Divine Arms. The ultimate Lord, Zhou Zhou said. Be careful. Zhou Zhou did not stop him. The ultimate Lord, Zhou Zhou nodded and flew in the direction of the starry night. He wanted to bring a starry night that represented his friendship with the Machina race to the Machina kingdom. This would be convenient. Zhou Zhou watched him leave. He was actually not too worried. He could condense it again if it died anyway. The words, "be careful," were just a slip of the tongue. In the bedroom of the intermediate grade lord's paradise. "I won't rest with you today as I have something to do. I shouldn't be back tonight," Zhou Zhou said to Li Ye. Li Ye was stunned. Then, she smiled gently and smoothed out the casual clothes on his chest. "Go on. Business is more important," she said. Imichim. Zhou Zhou left. In front of the lord's shop. "What games are you playing tonight?" Zhou Zhou asked Zhou Qingmin excitedly. Zhou Qingmin was stunned for a moment before he reacted and chuckled. "Your Majesty, come, sit." Zhouing took out a small stool and pointed at it. Zhou Zhou walked into the lord's shop and sat beside Zhou Qingmin without hesitation. "Let's fight the Zigs first. Then, we can play with the Spirit Dolua and the Twin Dragons." Zhou Qingmin excitedly took out a pile of game discs and began to choose. Zhou Zhou said nothing. He was here to play with him today. He could do whatever he wanted. F***CK. Why did you blow me up? Eat, eat, eat. I'll eat this bomb. You're about to die. Lend me your life. How embarrassing. Can you lend your life to me at once? Don't look at me like that. I'll spare your life. Your Majesty. Be a human. The next morning, Zhou Zhou put down the controller and stood up to stretch. "I haven't played so happily in a long time." Zhou Qingmin also had a comfortable expression. "What are you selling today?" Zhou Zhou asked directly. "Aren't you going to reminisce about last night? You seem to be having fun. Why don't we continue tonight?" Zhou Qingmin said reluctantly. "Let me see the goods first." Zhou Zhou said. Who would be willing to play games with a fat otaku all night if not for the goods in the lord's shop? However, he did have a good time yesterday. It had been a long time since he felt so relaxed. Zhou Qingmin pursed his lips when he saw this. He went to the counter and took out the 3 golden boxes. Then, he opened them one by one. The first box contained a transparent heart. There was a faint, vast power of laws circulating around it, as if it was nurturing a small world. There was a card in the second box and a skill book in the third box. Zhou Zhou's gaze immediately landed on the first item. His eyes widened slightly. At this moment, a text notification appeared. Bloodline name. Original Spirit Race Bloodline. Bloodline level. True God Tier Advanced Grade. Bloodline effect. After absorbing it, the user can obtain the bloodline of the original spirit race. After fusing with this bloodline, the user will gradually awaken the bloodline ability of the original spirit race during their growth. It really is the bloodline of the original spirit race. This should be provided by Ansel's original spirit race. Zhou Zhou was pleasantly surprised. Ansel was the only member of the original spirit race in his territory, so he was naturally the goods provided by him. However, he never expected old Zhou to really keep his word. Awesome goods would appear in the lord's shop after playing games with him for an entire night. Moreover, it was the goods he wanted the most. "Old Zhou, I'll play games with you again tonight." Zhou Zhou immediately looked up and said to Zhou Qingmin, who was packing up the game console, "Are we that close?" Zhou Qingmin was stunned for a moment before laughing. Zhou Zhou nodded and looked at another product. In the end, he realized that it was a designated subject commodity card. After using it, he could specify an ability, talent, bloodline, equipment, and other things owned by the subject to appear in the lord's shop the next day. Zhou Zhou naturally remembered this. After he obtained this card previously, he used it to obtain Xiaoxian's danger prediction talent. During this period of time, he felt that it was quite useful. Not bad, not bad. Zhou Zhou laughed. He was also quite satisfied with the second item. Then, he looked at the third item and realized that it was also a duplicate. It was the Ghost God General, Luo Shang's hero, Ghost God Military Morale. This thing is not bad either. Zhou Zhou nodded. Now that there were more and more soldiers in his territory, the requirements for the generals who led the soldiers were getting higher and higher. With the skill book, Hero Skill, Ghost God Military Morale, he could quickly create a general who could easily command an army. How much are these 3 goods worth? Zhou Zhou asked. The original spirit race bloodline is worth 10,000 legendary tier mist cores and 10,000 legendary tier territory tokens. The designated subject commodity card will still be at the same price. 10 legendary tier mist cores and 1 legendary tier territory token will do. Hero skill, Ghost God military morale is the same. 50 epic tier mist cores and 5 epic tier territory tokens. Old Zhou said leisurely. What the hell is this? Zhou Zhou exclaimed, his voice almost distorting. 10,000 legendary tier mist cores and 10,000 legendary tier territory tokens? That was 20,000 legendary tier mist cores. It was not that he could not afford this amount of mist cores. He had obtained more than 36,000 legendary tier mist cores yesterday after all. However, no matter how rich he was, he could not spend it like this. He had never bought such an expensive thing. This is really not expensive. The bloodline of this original spirit race is one of the top bloodlines in the endless heavens. Its grade has even reached the true god tier advanced grade. Logically speaking, it should require 100 true god tier divine crystals to buy. I only asked for 10,000 legendary tier mist cores and 10,000 legendary tier territory tokens because I don't think His Majesty can obtain true god tier divine crystals at this time. Your Majesty, don't be too greedy. When Zhou Qingmin heard Zhou Zhou's words, he shook his head and said. Zhou Zhou was speechless. He actually said that I'm too greedy? However, according to the true value of the original spirit race, it was indeed worth this price. It was even very likely to far exceed this price. He was indeed in an advantageous position. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou looked at the mist core reserves in his heavenly mist treasure bag. After converting them into legendary tier mist cores, he now had a total of 44,647 legendary tier mist cores. I'm going to bleed out, Zhou Zhou thought with a pained heart. However, even though it was very expensive, as the top bloodline in the myriad worlds, the bloodline of the original spirit race would definitely allow his chaos human bloodline to increase greatly. Therefore, he had to buy it. He was about to take out the mist cores. Suddenly, a light flashed in his heart. Then, he hurriedly began to search in his king's treasure box. Soon, he found a golden card. Card name, Beginner Shop Discount Card. Card level, Special. Card effect, the Lord has this card. When shopping in the Lord shop, you can buy the designated goods at a 30% reduction in price. Card description, an exclusive card from the Lord shop. It can be used to lower the price for shopping. I almost forgot about this. A smile appeared on Zhou Zhou's face. This card was a good that had been farmed from the Lord shop previously. After Zhou Zhou bought it, it had been useless. The true god-tier advanced grade original spirit race bloodline in front of him would probably only appear a few times in the Lord shop in the future. Since that was the case, he would use this beginner shop discount card on it. At the thought of this, Zhou Zhou handed the beginner shop discount card to Zhou Qingmin and said, I want all 3 of them. However, I want to use the beginner shop discount card on this original spirit race bloodline. Sure. Zhou Qingmin took it. Then Your Majesty only needs 7,000 legendary tier mist cores and 7,000 legendary tier territory tokens to buy it. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. A beginner shop discount card directly saved him 6,000 legendary tier mist cores. This deal was too profitable. He took out 14,011 legendary tier mist cores and 55 epic tier mist cores and handed them to Zhou Qingmin. After bidding him farewell, he took these 3 goods and prepared to return to the intermediate grade Lord's paradise. However, as soon as he left the Lord's shop, he happened to encounter Li Ye and her maid, Yu Qiao, who walked out of the Lord's paradise. Their eyes met. Your Majesty, have you been staying here last night? Li Ye asked doubtfully. The 2 of them called each other by their real names in private. However, Li Ye would naturally still call Zhou Zhou His Majesty in public. Zhou Zhou was about to speak when he saw Zhou Qingmin's greasy middle-aged man's face stick out of the room and chuckle. That's right. His Majesty played games with me all night last night. Oh yes, we agreed to play games together tonight again. There's a high chance that we'll stay up all night. Zhou Zhou. Liu was speechless. Your Majesty. So what you said you were going to do last night was to play games. Liu came to a realization. No, it's not like that. Let me explain. Zhou Zhou hurriedly explained. What a joke. Am I the kind of person who delays official business because of the games? You don't have to explain. Liu walked over and smiled. I've always felt that Your Majesty's life is too tense and that Your Majesty almost doesn't have a hobby to relax with other than developing your territory. I'm also very happy to see Your Majesty have another hobby outside of developing your territory. Then I'll take my leave first. I won't come over tonight. I wish Your Majesty a good time. Li Ya and Yu Qiao left. Before Yu Qiao left, she looked at Zhou Zhou in surprise, as if she could not believe that this man who had conquered 4 beginner kingdoms would accompany a middle-aged greasy uncle instead of his wife just to play games. You definitely did it on purpose, right? After the 2 women left, Zhou Zhou looked at Zhou Qingmin resentfully. Absolutely not. Zhou Qingmin immediately denied it. Then, he said seriously, Your Majesty's wife is indeed a virtuous empress. Your Majesty, you have to cherish her. Of course. Zhou Zhou nodded. No matter how slow he was, he knew that Liya was a good girl worth cherishing. Moreover, from her past deeds of working for the Aurora Kingdom, this girl was also qualified to be the mother of a country. Zhou Zhou had long treated her as his real wife. That was also why he directly called Li Yuangon his father-in-law. The 2 of them did not talk much. After Zhou Zhou returned to the intermediate grade Lord's paradise, he immediately used the bloodline of the original spirit race. Soon, he felt his heart heat up, as if it was starting to nurture something. At the same time, a text notification appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. You have absorbed 1 portion of the original spirit race, true God tier advanced grade. Your Chaos human bloodline has unearthed more potential and advanced to the epic tier advanced grade bloodline. Your 6 senses powers have been greatly enhanced. You have awakened the extraordinary tier advanced grade, enhanceable Chaos human race talent. The original elementary Chaos heart has advanced to the intermediate grade Chaos core. You have awakened the epic tier advanced grade, enhanceable Chaos human race talent. The original intermediate grade Chaos core has been upgraded to a high-level Chaos core. You have awakened the true God tier advanced grade original spirit race talent, World Lord. You have awakened the true God tier advanced grade original spirit race talent, Original Spirit. You have awakened the true God tier advanced grade original spirit race talent, World Fisher. You have awakened the true God tier advanced grade original spirit race talent, God of Thunder. You have awakened the true God tier advanced grade original spirit race talent, God of Dark Clouds. You have awakened the true God tier advanced grade original spirit race talent, Divine Power Control. You have grasped the original spirit race's common sense inheritance. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the original spirit race. Your talent, Thunder Immunity, has been greatly enhanced. You have mastered the true God tier advanced grade law skill, Thunder God Spear. You have mastered the true God tier advanced grade law skill, Thunder God Body. Zhou Zhou was pleasantly surprised when he saw the notification. The original spirit race did not disappoint him. It actually caused his extraordinary tier intermediate grade Chaos human bloodline to increase by more than a major level and directly jump to the epic tier advanced grade. He immediately looked at the awakened abilities. Race talent name, Advanced Grade Chaos Core. Talent level, Epic Tier Advanced Grade, Enhanceable. Talent description, your comprehension, thinking ability, and law affinity are already close to the limit of life forms. You can easily comprehend professional abilities or even law abilities in various fields. You can even comprehend a brand new law ability from nothing. Zhou Zhou could not help but raise his eyebrows when he saw this innate ability. Ability. So strong. Previously, the elementary Chaos Heart only said that his comprehension and thinking reaction ability had been greatly enhanced. Now, it had already told him that it was close to the limit of a life form. The subsequent description was even more shocking. His current comprehension could actually comprehend a brand new law ability from nothing, which meant, even if he did not rely on the Divine Spark Fragment to comprehend law skills, he could still comprehend an exclusive law skill of his own through seclusion. The prerequisite to becoming a god spirit is to comprehend your own law. The value of this high-level chaos core is probably not inferior to the book of the god spirit I gave Su previously. It might even exceed it. Zhou Zhou thought. That was a shocking find. Previously, he was still a little confused about how to walk on his future path as a god spirit. Now that he has this race talent, he should be able to help him a lot on the path to becoming a god spirit in the future. Then, he looked at the racial talent of the next original spirit race. Race talent name, World Lord. Talent level, True God Tier Advanced Grade. Talent description, the bloodline of the original spirit race flows in your body. This top bloodline of the myriad worlds allows your heart to nurture a small world, and you are the world lord of this small world. In this small world, your status is comparable to the creation god spirit and the ancestor of the great Tao. You can easily do things that you can't do in the real world in this small world. Moreover, as your main body strength increases, your small world will also expand and your ability will become stronger. After you break through to the low-tier deity level, this small world can break free from the restraints of your body and enter the myriad worlds, becoming a small world that can survive independently. It's finally here. The most basic talent of the original spirit race. Zhou Zhou's eyes lit up when he saw this Lord talent. He immediately looked into his heart. Previously, he felt his heart heat up slightly, as if something had changed when he absorbed this bloodline. The changes in his heart had gradually calmed down. The modification should have been completed. Zhou Zhou looked at it. In the end, he was surprised to discover that his heart had actually become a transparent heart. There were faint patterns of mysterious laws circulating around his heart. It was exactly the same as the bloodline of the original spirit race he had seen previously. However, there was one difference. Surrounding his transparent heart were wisps of chaos chi which fused into his heart from time to time, gradually dyeing his transparent heart with a faint chaotic color.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.